Welcome to a special Huddle in Place edition of Talks Within the Nine-Sided Circle with your hosts, Noor Kyle and Mushtaq Ali. And we're on the air.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Huddle in Place with the Nine-Sided Circle. It is Tuesday, April 7th, 2020, and we are on episode 16. I'm your host, Noor Kyle, along with
Noor Kyle's trusted sidekick, Mushtaq Ali.
Yep, and I'm in Los Angeles, and he's in the Bay Area. Currently, it is pouring like all get out here in sunny Southern California. What's going on there?
Today, we actually had sunshine and a bit of a breeze. We had our rain yesterday. It rained on us, and then it went down to rain on you.
Well, we needed to, and it's a nice change of scenery after a lot of sunshine recently. So we welcome it. It makes being inside kind of cozy.
Yep.
Other than that, not much to report. I think here in LA County, they want to start giving more protective personal equipment to essential workers who are not medical workers, and they want to make sure that employers are providing masks for employees and such as supplies improve, because they're at risk too, and it's really important that we give them the protection and rights that they deserve. They've definitely earned extra care at this point. Yeah,
they are expanding testing up here, which is good. And there's a local company that is going, I think, 24 hours a day refurbishing and repairing respirators.
Wow. Yeah.
A company named Bloom. That's not what they used to do, but they completely retooled at the request of the governor, and they were the ones who repaired those 700 or whatever they were broken respirators that Trump sent us.
Yeah. I mean, it's all hands on deck right now, for sure. And another thing I want to touch on is how the data is finally coming to light about how the demographics play out among people who have been testing positive and been hospitalized and all that stuff. And it definitely seems that marginalized communities are going to be affected much more prominently than people who have a bit more of a social and economic safety net in place. So we're talking about people of color, people with lower incomes, and who live in more crowded housing in cities and such. So that's just something to keep in mind going forward, that these are the communities who are really going to need support.
Yep, and we see that in Michigan, which used to be my home for some years, Black people are way more likely to get the virus. They're way more likely to need hospitalization, and they're way more likely to die than white people.
Yep.
Poor people are way more likely to get sick and need to be hospitalized and die than rich people.
Yep. The unhoused and people who live in cities, close quarters and such, undocumented immigrants who have trouble accessing health resources and all that. I mean,
and I'm happy to say that San Francisco has been working hard to get the homeless off the street and into hotels, which is the only thing that's going to work. Homeless shelters aren't going to work. People are crammed in homeless shelters like sardines. And that will just become a vector for spreading the virus.
Same thing here.
So all those empty hotel rooms can go to the homeless, where they can actually get some real food and watch some TV and have a shower and take it easy. And huddle in place in safety and not spread the virus everywhere.
So these are all very important things, and I'm happy to see that these are becoming bigger parts of the conversation in our local government communities and stuff, such like that.
Yep. We're making strides.
Yes. You know, it's never quite enough, but something's got to be done, and that's what counts. Yeah. So today we want to discuss in the 16th episode, cutting ourselves some slack.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do want to discuss that because oftentimes we don't, and we don't do it in some very bad ways. This was brought to my mind today when I was dinking around on the interwebs, and I saw this reality creation thing being offered.
Oh, like a seminar or webinar?
Yeah,
or
like something like that. And it was one of those, you create your reality. And I thought about that, and I thought, this will not end well.
No.
Because, dear listener, I have news for you. You do not create your reality. Your reality exists independent of you to a certain extent. The best you can hope for is creating your response to what the reality is. If you think that you create your reality, my challenge has always been, stand in the middle of the freeway and create the cars and trucks not running over you.
Yeah.
If you can do that, I'll listen to you.
Yeah. And there's definitely a distinction to be made about reality tunnels versus the consensus reality that we are subject to.
Yeah, versus the vertical reality, the actual reality.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so this is good news, though, because it means if you get sick, you didn't create that. That's hazard, you know? Life created it for you. Now, if you act as if you created that, you create a certain toxic environment. And we see this in the New Age community a lot. The people with the false smiles plastered on their face going around pretending that they're God and they're creating the reality that they're experiencing.
Yeah, I mean, we touched on this a little bit this weekend in talking about toxic positivity. And this is just like a subset of that phenomenon where you are enforcing happiness. You're enforcing good vibes and positive vibes only. I mean, that can be really dangerous.
Yeah. And if you cop to this idea that you're somehow creating all of this out there, which is basically solipsism, and then you create something really bad for yourself, whether it be catching the virus or getting in a traffic accident or having your favorite grandmother die of this stuff, then you're stuck with the guilt of that. Oh my God, I killed grandma with my thoughts because I wasn't positive enough. No, you didn't. Cut yourself some slack. Yeah. You're responsible for how you respond to what is given to you, and that's it.
Right. Yeah. As we discussed previously, you were saying that 60%, give or take, according to research, science.
Yes.
Is stuff that we do not have within our control, like, for example, as we discussed a few minutes ago, your racial your racial identity and all that stuff. Yeah. These are things that you don't necessarily get to choose per se. They are thrust upon you.
Yeah, and you don't get to choose people's reaction to you if, say, you are a Black person wearing a mask in America today. If I wear a mask, nobody looks twice at me. But my neighbor down the street, if he wears a mask, he happens to have the distinction of being a Black man. People get nervous. It's like, oh my God, there is a Black man in a mask. He's not responsible for that shit. He's not responsible for other people's stupid reactions to him, but he may have to face the consequences of other people's stupid reactions to him.
Yeah.
So, things to think about. So cut yourself some slack. Deal with the 40% of your life that you do have control over. Figure out what that is. What do you actually have control over? You have control over your own behavior, first and foremost.
Yep.
Nobody can choose how you behave but you.
Yes, and taking safety precautions within your means, whatever those might be, financially, socioeconomically, it's important to do the best that we can. And the rest isn't up to us. We can only do the best that we're able to do.
Yeah, and take responsibility for using the resources that are available, even if it sticks in your craw.
What might that be, do you think?
Well, for example, I personally would rather starve to death than get food stamps. Not because I think that there's anything moral about food stamps, but because of the experiences in my childhood of having to live off of government commodities, by and large. First of all, the food was crappy. Second of all, the amount of control that the government exerted over you for the privilege of eating their spare and leftover food was ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
You had to grovel, and I refused to grovel.
And people with disabilities encounter this to a certain extent as well.
Yeah. But in times like this, it may become necessary to swallow one's pride and apply for food stamps, at least temporarily.
Right, yeah.
Apply for Medicaid.
Apply for debt relief.
All of that kind of stuff. Yeah. These are things that you have some control over, and you should exercise that control.
Right, yeah. And it is tough right now because the folks who are running these services and keeping them functioning are also struggling right now too. I mean, it can be hard to get a call into an office, but I can speak through experience about food stamps, for example. I've availed myself that support right now, and fortunately, it was pretty quick to be approved. So I do know that it's possible, and I do know that there's nothing wrong with taking advantage of these things if that's what we need.
Yeah. So that's our message to you today. Cut yourself some slack.
Yep.
You'll do better if you do. Don't hold yourself to an impossible standard.
Right. Yes.
And reach out for help when you need it. Or even if you just want it.
Yeah, I mean, especially, support from your loved ones and such, it can be really challenging to bridge the void when maybe you've been out of touch for a while or you're feeling really insecure. But there's got to be someone who is just waiting for you to reach out to them.
Yeah. There may be somebody who needs you to reach out for them.
Yeah. It's a two-way street,
Yep. So that's what I got. Do you got anything more, Noor?
Not today. No. But
then that's it. Yeah. Tomorrow we may be talking about how to adapt to the ongoing post-apocalyptic cyberpunk reality that we're all oozing into.
I love that. Okay, that sounds like a good time. And so there you go. That is our 16th episode, and it's great to be in touch with you guys, and we look forward to touching base again tomorrow. Take care.
Take care. Bye.